All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of our podcast, TD Markets Academy podcast. And this is we got it wrong the other time.
We went, why was I thinking 10 or 11? It's
but the guys will see. But I think between 11 and 12 this time around. Yeah. Hey, guys, we deal with a lot of things and we tend to miss these things. But
lots of streams and classes and
trading rooms.
Oh, my word. Yeah.
But yeah, we're happy to be back, guys. Once again, I've got my brother Ash, not riding solo. Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure, bro.
My man. All good. And in this episode, guys, there's a gentleman that you see here, right, by the name of Bliss. He's our guest for this session. We're going to talk a little bit about Bliss, where he's from, how he got started into trading, and obviously in the future, what his plans is for the future.
What your plans are all the way from Zambia.
Yeah.
Bliss, welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on this amazing podcast.
100%. I'm seeing billions on your shirt there, on a t-shirt there, my man. Wanna talk a little bit about that? Billions, is it your name that you gave yourself? Is it your crew?
Okay. So it's Billionaire Trading Academy. That's the name of my academy, a Forex Trading Academy. And of course, if you notice, it has the word billion in it, and so does my name. So my name is Bliss. Of course, the nickname, most people know me as Bliss $1 billion. So there's always that name billion, because that is always the goal. I always want to keep the goal, just right by the corner so that I don't forget where I'm headed to. Yeah.
Now,
and from a billion perspective, what currency are we talking here?
Of course, we're talking about USD. That's the goal.
Dollar billionaire. Yes, sir. Yeah. All right, my man. Once again, happy to have you here. I think the guys watching this are gonna enjoy this. So let's take it back from the start.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself. So you say your name is Bliss. They call you Bliss. They know you as Bliss from Zambia, right?
Yeah. So my name is Bliss. Most people call me Bliss $1 billion or the Forex Daddy. Those names are popular, especially in the Forex space here in Zambia.
What, Forex Daddy?
Yeah, Forex Daddy.
Forex Papa?
Yeah.
Forex Papa, Forex Daddy.
Sure. Yeah. So I think the Forex Daddy comes in as a result of the kind of impact I've had on Zambians as well. The trading space here in Zambia. So, sort of a father figure. I'm small too, but, the contributions that I've made so far, I think qualify me for that. So most people call me Forex Daddy, but, I'm okay with Bliss $1 billion or the Forex Daddy. Either of those is good.
Yeah. What's your actual name? Sorry, bro. What's your actual name?
So my actual name is Imparo Bliss Msoya.
Imparo.
Yeah, Imparo.
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 Yeah,
what does it mean?
Imparo.
What does it mean?
It means blessing.
Blessing.
Yeah, a blessing. Yeah.
In what language is that?
That's Tumbuka. You're familiar with it?
No. Is it one of the tribes, or is it maybe just in Zambia? Is it a cultural thing? Maybe just tell us there.
Yeah, so I think it's here in Zambia as well. I know about Zambia as well as Malawi. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a tribe. It's
yes.
Okay. Is it Comport? What did you say it again? What's the tribe's name?
Tumbuka.
Oh, Tomboka. Sorry,
Tumbuka. Yeah.
Like a drum. Tumboka.
Tumbuka.
All right, Tumbuka. All right.
My man. Yeah. So when you were growing up, my man, where in Lusaka, Zambia, are you based? Actually?
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, we were in Lusaka. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So you guys met. But we're going to talk about that. Right?
Yeah.
100%. So how was life growing up? How was life that side when you were growing up?
Okay. So originally, not from Lusaka. So I come from another town within Zambia. It's called Isoka. And of course, how I found myself there is as a result of my parents. They still do work there. Yeah, and I came to Lusaka around 2017. That's when like I finally moved from my parents' place and then came to Lusaka. And I mean, growing up, how life has been, of course, my parents both used to work. But of course, I'm not coming from a background where like everything is provided for. You get, yeah. So you sort of, have the basic needs and all that. But of course, there are times when, for example, if there's an economic crisis and all that, it affects almost everybody. Yeah. And considering, the profession for my parents, they would sometimes get affected in those areas. But if I have to mention, I think they've been able to provide the basic needs that I needed until the point where I became independent. So that's a bit of my background, coming from Isoka and then relocated to Lusaka, which is now the capital city of Zambia. That's where I'm currently based.
All right. And did you move to Lusaka before after you've completed school? Like after matric?
I came to Lusaka. Funny thing is that when I was coming to Lusaka, I was supposed to go to Russia to do my studies there. So I came to get a passport and then prepare for the journey. And then midst all the things and all that, after getting everything, things just changed. And the plans got cancelled, and that's how I ended up now just settling here in Lusaka, because my brother was based here. So I just settled here and then started school, here, and here we are. And then that's where like the Forex, thing began. I'm sure that is something that we're going to talk about later on.
Why Russia?
Okay, so at that particular point, initially, I had my uncle who had previously gone to Russia to do his studies from there. So I think I also got motivated by what he was saying. I was like, oh, Russia is a good place. And, you always have that uncle in your family. And of course, that is where the opportunity was for something that I wanted to do. So yeah, that's why.
Okay, so it's not like specifically the standard or the level of education that you were gunning for, or maybe because there's a lot of tech there. It was because of the opportunity that your uncle proposed.
I think Russia has got an advanced it's an advanced version of Zambia. So having to get a part of that piece was also the equation, but also the fact that the opportunity was there for me to go. So
yeah, so maybe just to the viewers, why me and T like to ask these questions is because some people they want to know those kind of details, because in their minds they might even ask, why Russia? And coming from Africa as a continent, we want to try and understand what's happening across, overseas, so that they can make informed decisions for themselves. As we know, this podcast is not only about us chatting about Forex, but we are trying to educate our guys as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so basically Russia, I think I've always admired, their infrastructure and all that. And because when I was in secondary school, rather high school, I was at a technical school, and I was exposed to subjects that are more centered, on engineering and all that. I actually thought I was going to be an engineer.
Oh, wow.
So flying to Russia, I thought it would have been a better option.
Got you.
Among many others, because I wanted to do civil engineering from Russia. Yeah, so I thought it was going to be a good option, among others. Yeah.
Okay. So the Bliss Bliss in high school, ambitious civil engineer. What were you like with your fellow peers? Like in terms of socializing, were you an introvert, extrovert, as they title it? These days, I'll be honest, bro, I don't even know if introvert and extrovert actually exist anymore, because you can learn so many skills. You're an introvert, and then all of a sudden you go and you do some classes, you speak to people, you become an extrovert all of a sudden.
Yeah, there are people that we've asked this, and then they would say, and I think it's either it was Jack or the previous guest, who they said that they are introverts, but when they're out there, suddenly they are extroverts.
It's like a hybrid model has birthed itself,
Yeah.
So like, what were you like in high school,
Okay. Looking back, I was back in high school, I was, I would say, an introvert. A very well-behaved person, yeah. I have to mention that in high school, I think I got the most number of awards. And on top of that, the major thing was that I was, head boy back in high school at a very big school. I should be, I think, the biggest, government institution in the province, and then countrywide, it should be among the top, 5. So I used to be head boy there.
How many people? Sorry, brother. How many people in the school? You said a very big school.
At that particular point, I don't know. Maybe we can do the math, but we had grade 10s. Classes for grade 10s were about 8. Classes for grade 11s were about 8. Classes for grade 12 were about 8, and now they've introduced grade 8 and 9. At that particular point, they also introduced grade 8 and 9. So
is that a big school?
We're looking at a huge number.
Yeah. So when you say in grade 10 there were 8 classes, was it in alphabetical order, like grade 10 A, B, C? Was it like that?
No. So the name of the school is called Mungwi Technical Secondary School.
Okay.
So how they named the classes was MUNGWI. So following the name of the school.
I see.
I see. Yeah. So I have to mention that I think I've grown up to be a very smart person. In terms of intelligence. Because even when I went to that school, I was in the best performing class. That's after you write a test and then they put you in, those classes, depending on how many marks you get. So I just happened to be very intelligent, and I found myself in those classes. And I know I was doing very well in high school.
Okay.
Yeah. And my high school also was something similar to that, where we had from grade 8 to grade 12, there were about 5 classes or 5 groups of grade 8, grade 8, but it was numbered in A, B, C, D, E.
Okay.
So E and F was the last one, right? So when you say that all the smart people would be all in one group, right?
Exactly.
the high performing ones, and then
the others was at the bottom.
Was it the case also in your school?
Yeah, that was also the case. So when you go to a school, you'll be subjected to a test, which you have to write.
Yeah.
And then from that test, they'll pick the top. I think in my class were 35 to 40. So the first 40, let's say 40.
That was my next question, actually. Yes, yeah.
The first 40 are put in one class, which is the M. They used to call us the cream of Northern Province.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the class where tough subject combinations. And then the ones that followed will be put in U, then N, G, W, I, T, E. That's how it used to be.
Got it. All right. So an average number of students in a class was about 40. You say that's
on average 40.
That's quite a bit.
That's quite a bit. All right. So that's a huge big school you're talking about. Yeah, no, it's very big, it's very massive.
So fast forward high school, right? Intelligent. You coming from a class of 40 in the M's.
Yeah.
To be honest, bro, I can't remember what letters I think we just went to the teacher's name, Mrs. Hibbert, which was one of my favorite, by the way. Mrs. Hibbert, if you ever see this is Ash. I'm sure giving you a shout out.
My man.
So fast forward, high school. Now you get to college stage, or let me rather say tertiary. All right. And you in the tertiary environment, you wanted to do civil engineering. Just tell us a little bit about that quickly, in terms of, because we now know Russia, we know that the plans changed, but how did you go from changing the plan with Russia and then plug into the financial markets? That transition, what happened there?
Okay. So obviously, when the plan to go to Russia didn't work out, I ended up just starting school here in Zambia. I started with, being med school. And of course, we are also subjected to, doing A-levels. Then after you pass, you are granted into doing medicine eventually, which I managed to pass. And then from there, I kind of also made a transition now, because I was more on the business side of it. That is after I started doing Forex. But of course, the Forex thing started in med school. And it's funny how the whole thing started here.
Tell
It's
us,
crazy
Mama.
how.
Yeah, tell us.
So, starting school, I start first year. What ended up happening was that I got a girlfriend. Now, getting this girlfriend, I didn't know, but she was coming from her uncle at that particular point was sort of a government official. I didn't know. I just said, I like that girl, and I went for it. But of course, I realized at some point I needed to do just more. When you're in a relationship, there are certain things, in as much as you are not the complete provider, but there are certain things where you just have to be a man. You can't run away from that.
That's true.
So that was the point, and I began having issues because I was just relying on my parents. So my parents have to send me money. I pay for my boarding house. And I wasn't staying in a fancy neighborhood as where the boarding house was. It's this compound. It's known for having problems and junkies and So my parents would send me money, but it was never enough for me to even have activities like going out with my girlfriend. Maybe it's a birthday, that kind of thing.
You have to buy the gift. You have to buy the gift.
Spoiling
on a
Tuesday,
flowers, Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
this is a money-making scheme. That anyway,
Yeah,
exactly. So I ended up thinking outside the box. I was like, no, I need to have at least something that I'll be doing that will be bringing in some cash. And how I went about it was that I first of all started by befriending a few lecturers. Because I realized that particular school, the lecturers were not giving students the past papers. But there were students that could get them if maybe you befriend some seniors or some lecturers.
Okay.
So that's what I did. The lecturer would come in, you help them with what do you call this, a projector, and you're chatting. And then at the end of the day, I could ask for some study materials. And what
what do you call that? What do you call that activity? Because now you... What do you call that activity, brother? All right, hold on. Don't say it. Don't say it. We're streaming live. I'm joking. Listen, I'm just pulling your leg. I'm just pulling. That's just me. I like pulling legs. I love you. Sure. Go for it, Bliss.
Yeah. So I do not know what it's called, but I was trying to because I was on a mission. On a mission. Yeah. So I ended up having, getting to know the lecturers, and, that also pushed me to also do better in their courses.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I didn't want to do bad books with them. So at the end of the day, I got some material, some study materials, past papers, tutorial sheets, and all that. And then I linked up with this guy from CBU, which is another university. He was a programmer, and he makes apps, study apps. I don't know if he's doing other things now. And then I reached out to him, and I was like, my man, I saw this this application that you've made. You've put some study materials for each university. And I'm like, oh, I'm coming from this university. Can I give you the materials? You put them on the application, and then we begin selling the application at the school. And he said, well, that's okay. So I got the information, we put them on the application, and I started selling the application. Yeah. So at that particular point now, people started knowing me as a guy that doesn't go pro. Yeah, I started selling the materials to the guys. Guys, I have all the tutorial sheets right here if you need them, because lecturers used to repeat some questions, and it also just helps you, revise. So people started buying, and that's how I started making some cash. And cash is sweet. Then I started looking at other things, of course, which ended up now I got scammed in the process, and now that's what led to Forex. And now how that happened was this. So the story of the application, who are making money, and I started recruiting more students to be selling the application, and then I could share 50-50 with the owner of the application. Yeah, I could get 50, he gets 50. Those people that I was recruiting, they could get sort of, a small share, I get my share, and then, so that's how it was. And at that particular point now, I think I like the idea that, when you have money, you're able to do certain things. And I think at that particular point, I now saw the risky kind of the person that loves the risk, I now discovered myself better at that particular point. And there was this, I don't know, they came in the name of network marketing. These guys, there was this particular company, I've forgotten its name. And they would say, yeah, invest this much, we'll give you this much.
Okay.
Yeah. Those things were kind of new then in Zambia, and people were making money. People that they're making money. They invest maybe 1,000 rands or something. They get 2,000 or 5,000, and then they're recruiting others.
Can I stop you there just quickly? Do you remember which year was this?
Okay, so this was 2019.
2019. All right. 2019. So that's when network marketing started to be a thing in Zambia, I assume.
I mean, it was there maybe around 2018. I heard of it around 2018. That's when these guys now started having whatever. Yeah, around 2018. But I now got actively involved with them maybe like in end of 2018 to 2019.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. And now this is where the point where, there was this opportunity to make huge monies. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take a risk. And what I did at that particular point was that I got the tuition fee that my parents had paid in full. And then I got that money. I didn't pay. I just got the money, and then I invested with that company. The only money I got from that was like $150. And then the company disappeared. I mean, that's a trend. I mean, if someone talks about network marketing, there's a trend that people talk about where people invest, and then before you know it, the company disappears.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the first company. There's been many companies there.
Yeah.
Right, that have disappeared. Yeah.
And to all our viewers, guys, if you hear anyone say, give me your money, I'm going to trade on your behalf.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you X amount of money. Please run away. Please run away very quick, because we are a highly regulated brokerage.
Yeah.
And we are not going out telling people anything like that. All right. So please do not fall for anyone that says, I'm going to trade on your behalf and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. And also the returns, they would then reel you in with how much returns they would give you.
Exactly.
Like they would say, in 2 days, I guarantee you 100% returns.
Please run.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
All right, Bliss.
Yeah, so 2019 network marketing, the company disappears. You've got your $150. That's what you got, $150, right? And then from there now, what goes through your mind? Because you got this tuition fee, you were supposed to do something with it, you didn't. You invested it, hoping that you would get like big returns, right? That is the expectation. Now that didn't happen. You've got $150 with you. What goes through your mind? Do you feel like you've disappointed your parents? What was going through your mind at that point in time?
Yeah, at that particular point, because now the money is lost, and at that particular point, even the money that I was making, I don't think it was going to cater for the tuition fee that I had actually gotten. Because that was like a month away from the final exams. And, I was at a private institution. They do not allow, even if you have like one run, remaining, before you, in regards to your like tuition fee, you can't write the exam. I don't know if they're now lenient, but that was the trend back in the day. So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I didn't tell my parents then. My mother is, somebody that doesn't take,
Sure.
And I remember I had no choice at that particular point, but just to call them. I called mom. I didn't even finish explaining. She said, don't tell me any of that. We gave you all the money to pay and all that. I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah, that's an African mom. Right there.
Sure. What ended up happening was that because I was very much in good books with my parents. I should mention that my parents really trust me a lot, I think, based on the decisions that I've been able to take and just how responsible I am in terms of decision making as well as just other things. So I ended up talking to Dad, and I was like, I formulated a strategy, and I said, I had Dad wanting to build a house. And I said, Dad, you know what? Last time you were talking about building a house, I was thinking if you could send me money for next semester's fee, and then so that you'd have, instead of sending the money next semester, you just use it, for the house, and you get a loan and you finish the house and all that. And I came up with this information, and it was like, yeah, well, what you say kind of makes a little bit of some sense. And then he said, but if I have to tell your mom this, she's not going to accept. And I said, definitely. So he told me, okay, don't tell her nothing. Let's just do a backdoor deal kind of thing. And that's how he sent the money. And I ended up paying, and I wrote my exams, and of course I passed. That is how I was able to get out of that. But remember, my parents now know that I've paid for this semester and next semester.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So now I was like, okay, before next semester, I had to raise money now to pay. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So after writing the exams, at that particular point, I was like, you know what? I have to find something that will be bringing me more income. But remember that company that scammed us?
Yeah.
They used to claim they were trading Forex. And I said, if these guys are claiming Forex, I think Forex, it should be something that exists. But maybe these guys just, So I ended up researching on Forex. And this is where now I got introduced to all the South African traders that were trending at that particular point, or buying BMWs or buying all these fancy cars and all that. I said, this is the thing. I'm like, people can make money in this thing. And I started developing interest out of just watching people that were, especially South Africans. I have to give out a shout out to you, South Africans, Yeah. They just drive, South African traders have, with their rides showing off, and they're like, yeah, that thing, caught my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's how it was. And then I remember the last day of the exams, I made a decision to say, you know what, once I go home, the only thing I'm going to do now is just study Forex. Now, here's the crazy part. During that period, I was having misunderstandings with my girlfriend. Apparently, she was giving attention to this other dude, probably maybe because maybe the guy was more privileged than I was. That's how I interpreted it. You get. Yeah. And so at that particular point, we ended up, breaking up because it was really affecting me emotionally, when you are highly invested in somebody.
Yeah.
And they do that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it really affected me. And it took a little bit of some time for me to recover from that. And I found myself constantly, wanting to see if they've uploaded their status and, all this, what they're doing, in case they've posted a picture with that guy. But one thing,
that's a real thing. Hey,
it happens.
Bliss, that's a real thing, and I think there's a lot of guys. Look, we're not shrinks, we're not you're not psychiatrists and psychologists, and but that's a real thing. And from an emotional standpoint, I think people don't realize how that causes trauma for a lot of young guys now.
Yeah.
Like, it's not spoken of, but it causes trauma, that rejection, that you're not approved, you're not really worthy. It's a real thing,
Yeah, you're very much right on that one. And that's exactly what happened. I thought, I think at that particular point, I was also getting, a little bit depressed. That was like my first, girlfriend, And how that I don't know if you've experienced it, but yeah, that kind of thing. So, looking at the whole thing and judging everything, I was like, perhaps if I was in a better position, maybe financially and all that, I would have more options. And of course, obviously, maybe the person wouldn't look at other options. So at that particular point, I think we tried to work things out and all that, but, the person wasn't stopping with the other guy she was flirting with. And then the thing that helped me the most was when I started learning Forex. It wasn't easy, but when I started now watching all these guys that were making money in Forex, and, just their stories and all that, my attention kind of started switching from focusing on, something that was already broken and wanting to mend it, to trying and do something that was intelligent, something that I wanted from the bottom of my heart. And that's why I started now learning Forex. And within no time, I think that was like after a month or so, I got so invested in Forex. I had made up my mind to say, I'm just going to learn Forex. Remember, we have closed school at that particular point. So 6 to 6, I was just on my laptop learning terminologies, learning about all these indicators, all these things. I was just so curious about this subject. And then before I knew it, my attention had already shifted from, focusing on the relationship to focusing on just me becoming a better person. And I ended up, deleting the girl's number and all that. I think I now got to a point where like I was feeling good at that particular point. I had moved on from the breakup and all that. And then I was just so, it was that point where you kind of realize yourself, you know what, I have a life. And I can do better. I started focusing on myself more and then focusing on just becoming better. Forex trading was that one thing that I always used to find comfort in. So I started learning. At that particular point, we didn't have so many people in Zambia that could teach how to trade. I didn't know anybody at that particular point. Yeah, so it was kind of crazy. So I was just using YouTube at that particular point, for the lessons. And I ended up finding myself in some trading communities. And it was the only time I felt alive was when I was talking about Forex or when I was learning and all that. And that's the only thing that I started doing. So that is how I started learning Forex. But where did the change, come in? So I do not know what happened on this specific day when I was learning. But remember at that particular point, I didn't have nobody to guide me. So now I don't know how I found myself in this Telegram group. It was for a guy from Ghana. I recently just got to know his name. He's called Dada Joe from Ghana. I don't know how he's doing right now, but it was his group. He was sort of a silent guy and all that. And now he offered this group where he was teaching people for free. And then later on, he could say, okay, guys, now if you want my signals or something, you'd have to pay. So I ended up being part of that group on Telegram. And then he could teach. And then because I was so obsessed with this Forex thing, you would find 10 minutes before class, I'm already there, I'm chatting him up, bro, are we having a lesson today and all that. So we kind of created sort of a personal relationship. And what ended up happening was that when it was that time when he said people are going to start paying, he actually made me an admin, for the new group. Yeah, because he saw how dedicated I was and how much work I was just putting in. And I ended up being an admin. He taught me how to trade certain things and all that, price action. I have to be very specific. Price action and, use of indicators and all. I think it got me to a point where now I had known how to go about things step by step. And that's what helped me. And now I just kept on now adding on the information that was coming, the information that I had already known because I had known the path. And before I knew it, at that particular point, I think, let's say, after a few months, maybe 3-4 months, I was trading on a live account and I started making some monies. $50, $10. Sometimes you'd make $100 just like that. And I thought, I remember when my first withdrawal came in, I was so much glad. I was like, wow, so this thing is real. Just having that first money hit your bank, just changed everything for me. I said, you know what, I'm going to put even more effort. And then fast forward to like 6 months into trading, I was doing great things. Like 6 months after, I was introduced to Forex, I was doing great things. One, I have to mention that I used to take high risk. Certain things I didn't even understand them. But I'm one person, I used to be very patient with trading. I could spot many, many opportunities, but I would always just go for that one opportunity and I would risk it all. I remember at that particular point, we had one slogan. We used to say, if he dies, he dies. Yeah.
Go big or go home, my man.
Yes. So I used to risk a lot. And that used to come with a huge reward. And I was lucky enough to, to find myself where I now started making some good amounts. I think if I have to count, because now I started making some good amounts, I was staying with my brother at that particular point. And now at one particular point, I sat down and because I used to also go to school. Nobody knew I was making some good monies. My brother didn't know. But there came a time when my parents called me and they needed money. My sister was going to school and they had not gotten paid. And then they were like, we have this issue and all that. Of course, they didn't think I was in a position to help. But at that particular point, I had so much money in my account. And then I told them how much was needed. They told me how much was needed for her, like the tuition fee. And I said, you know what, I'm going to send. And Mom asked, where are you getting all this money? And I said, you remember, Mom, there was this application that I was doing, I was selling. I also wrote a book about certain things. I've been selling and I've been saving the money. So that's the money that I'm going to send. She said, okay. So I sent the money. And then after that, I sat down. And then I was like, okay, let me account for how much I have been able to make in trading and all that. I had different accounts, crypto accounts where I was reserving my money, Skrill, and all these other things. Once I counted, I saw it was above like the million kwacha. I don't know the relationship now with the rands and all that. I counted, I had Bitcoins, that was like in 2019. Towards the end of 2019, had Bitcoins, had Ethereum, had Bitcoin, had all these things. And then it was over $1 million kwacha. And I said, oh my God, this is it. I had just known I had made over $1 million kwacha at that particular point. And what I did at that particular point was, because I had always, my parents had, have always come first before anything.
Sure.
Because now I've found disappointment with the ladies. So now I was just focusing on myself and the parents, of course. So I had made a decision to say, I was not going to go out there in the streets impressing anybody, buying fancy cars and just be showing off. Whilst my parents back home are still renting, are still, they're not doing, So what I did was that, first of all, before I get any car or anything, I had to ensure my parents had a house. So I remember having a conversation with Dad. I was talking about, remember he did build the house, with the money that I had used and all that. Yeah. So I ended up talking to him and I was like, they were just about to start building the house. And I said, do you know how much the entire house plan that you have cost? Because like I can actually do the math and then send you the figures. He did the math and then sent the money. And I told him it was on a Friday, like this one. And I told him, okay, this is how much is needed. I'll send the money on Monday. He was like, what? Where are you going to get the money? I remember they had not known I was trading. I didn't tell nobody. I think that's one of the things that helped me. I didn't tell nobody. And then at that particular point, I said, I'm going to send. He thought I was joking. Monday came, I went to the bank. I withdrew money. And then I sent the money. I sent part of it. And I told them, go and buy everything from foundations to whatever, just ensure you have everything so that you build the entire house. He was like, where did you get this money from? And I told him, I've been trading and do that. That was like, he was already sold. He was like, okay, my son, great job, yeah. But then Mom, on the other hand, I don't know why moms are like this. Mom actually, started thinking maybe I was involved in some kind of, shady deals or something, maybe selling drugs or something. In as much as she received the money and then they built a house, and I had ensured that they had built a house. That's where they stay right now. Yeah, that's the house they stay in. And she used to ask me, my son, just be honest with me. Where is this money coming from? And I told her, Mom, I've been trading. She didn't understand anything about trading. Others used to think, Satanists, you know how things are.
Sure,
yeah. Especially after, And I was like, no. So she only got to believe when she visited me. At that particular point now, I had now become independent. I was no longer staying with my brother. I had gotten myself a house and, all that. And I think I had also bought my first 2 cars. One, I got it locally, and then the other one, I got it online. I got the one locally because that was the first time I was going to drive a German machine. And just to get used driving around the city of Lusaka, I said, you know what? As I wait for the other vehicle to come, let me have this other German machine just so I acquaint myself with, driving in Lusaka. And that's how it ended up happening. And mom came to my place, and then until I showed her, said, this is what I do, this is how I make money and all that. That is when now she came to things that, there's also such a thing called Forex and all that. And pretty much that's how I transitioned into being a Forex trader. And now I have continued on that journey. So that's pretty much how I got started from high school and finding myself, being a Forex trader.
All right. I want us to go back a little bit because we try and speak to a beginner. Whatever we do, we try and target a beginner to show them certain things, Now, you mentioned something when you said there's a particular setup you would wait for and then you would risk a lot on that particular setup, right? I wanted to speak about that because there's a lot of beginners, and I think, Ash, you also have come across this, where beginners believe that, number one, you need to be trading every day for you to make money. Number two, you need a lot of trades open for you to make money, of which is not like that most of the time, right? I mean, the quality of the trade overweighs the quantity of the trades you take. You can wait for a quality setup. You can even wait a week for a quality setup and then make more money than you would have made when you had like 5-10 positions open. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So now what you touched on there, you said you would wait for a particular setup and risk a lot there, right? Did your mentor at the time direct you to that, or did you find that as you were going along, navigating on yourself, that, all right, I need to be trading this way, this is the setups I'm taking, I need to be trading these setups. If on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't see that setup, that means I don't trade. You see, that's where the beginner now tends to lose it, where they feel like if Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they don't see anything and the market is moving, they feel like, they are leaving they're leaving money on the table, right? What would you say to a beginner regarding that, exactly that one? Because that's very powerful there.
Yeah. Here's one thing. When I used to trade, I wasn't trading every day. Sometimes an entire week would end and I haven't taken no trade.
Sure.
Because I always had that one golden, where I had everything lining up, and then I would risk on that. Yeah. So it is not always about trading every day that makes you profitable at the end of the day. No. Actually, I think it does more harm than good. Trading every day, every setup and all that. No. If you can identify certain things, because now I'd reached a point where I had weighed my options. So, okay, if I'm taking this particular trade, chances are that maybe 60% I was going to be right. Then the other one, chances are that 90% I was going to be right. I would always go for that setup that I knew I had the highest probability of being right. And that is the setup that I would take in the long run. So sometimes I would not trade for an entire week and then only trade maybe once in a week or twice in a week or 3 times in a week, maximum 3 times in a week. That's how it used to be. So it's not always about trading every day that makes you profitable or that makes you the most amount of money. It's just about the timing, how best you understand and the quality of the trades that you take.
100%.
That million kwacha that you made is 700,000 rand.
Yeah, 700,000 rand.
Exactly.
My man.
So that's some good money, almost a mil.
Yeah.
And being able to assist your family, I think that's
it's a blessing.
Yeah, I truly believe in that. Like
100%.
Charity begins at home. Like really, really help your people at home, and then that just shoots through, and you start to help other people as well. Totally agree with that.
100%.
That girl that you left, the one that you got over, did you see her after that?
Definitely, of course. Yeah.
That is one of my, eventually, eventually she started coming back. Yeah. I have to mention, she started coming back. But at that particular point, I was, like she didn't matter, I was so much in love with myself and the grind, the craft I was doing. I was so much in love, such that, she didn't matter, she would literally like call and I would look at, I'm like, she's wasting time and not, I ended up blocking her. And then you started calling my friend and all that, but that's the thing. But you know what? The moment I felt that satisfaction was when now, I think now my other car had come. My first car was like a BMW 320i, and then the second one was sort of a Mercedes-Benz E200. Yeah, that was like the second. Yeah, so when the Mercedes-Benz had come, what I did was that there was a guy at the institution I was at where the girl was, and I communicated with him to say, my guy, what time are you knocking off? I want to show up today. Because at that particular point now, people were knowing me in the Forex industry now here in Zambia. There's this guy called Bliss, $1 billion, and I was making noise, everywhere and all that, The South African introduced me to this lifestyle, whereby,
this culture,
yeah.
Gold wrapped Aston Martins.
I went to her school. I went to her school and I wanted to meet her as well as the guy. Yeah, but those guys had broken up. Yeah, they had broken up, whatever was going on. So I had reached there and I parked my car at the vice chancellor's spot. It was empty because people were looking off. So I parked my car there. And now at that particular point, because I was becoming popular among students, because now I was making money, the people were coming to take pictures and all that. You know, that vibe felt great. But most important, when she saw I'm driving, maybe she used to see online, but this time around, she saw me live with my keys, Mercedes-Benz. And then she saw, I remember seeing her, and then I was like, okay, yeah, this is great. But I got my revenge when now I saw those guys, were like about 3, they were going out. And I drove out, had put my hazards on the car because it was an institution. I was driving slowly. And then my windows were up. When I reached where they were, I dropped them with some loud music and I stopped and I was like, hi guys, how are you doing? They're like,
No.
hi bro, how are you doing? You know, with laptop bags and you know.
Yeah. So the moral of the story.
Yeah, let's just get the moral. Yeah.
Moral of the story. And for people watching this, you know, breakups, you know, when a girl breaks your heart, some people even kill themselves because of the heartbreak, man, right? The best revenge is to work on yourself and make money. Make sure that you make money and then buy, you know, something that you love. And then in your world, Bliss, you must then make sure that you are in close proximity with the girl so she can see you.
So Bliss, fast forward now.
Sure.
All right. That Bliss that put his windows down, how's it, guys?
Yeah.
Who or how has that Bliss evolved to who you are now? Or are you still the same guy? Are you totally different? Tell us.
Okay. I think I know I'm not the same Bliss that I was. There's a lot of growth that has occurred, especially after certain things. One, you know, after making all the money and all that, there was a particular time where I lost so much. And that was the point where I met, I can't forget to mention this person, Solomon Sage. I'm sure you are familiar with him.
We had him on. Yeah.
He's really played a very, I mean, aside family, because he's not family, but we're now like brothers. Yeah. When I lost a lot of money, that was the time I knew him. I remember I was in this, bad state, and I contacted him. Bro, I hear you're a trader and all that. He came through. He came to my place. He was like, oh, you know what, bro? We looked at the market together. We tried to trade. And he was like, okay, bro, you should even come to my place, because he was already staying on his own at that particular point. I went to his place also, and we tried to trade and all that. I lost the money, and I kind of felt depressed at that particular point. And that is why now the change started coming in. But, you know, at that particular point, the person that helped me bounce back, because I stopped trading. I was just, staying and all that, because I still had money, to live on, but I wasn't actively trading. But I remember, because when trading, I used to record my screen and post the profits and all that. I remember this man, he gets one video and he posts it on his status. I don't know how much, I think I had flipped an account from, I think maybe $1,000, maybe to about $10,000 or $5,000, something like that. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, his name is Bliss $1 billion. I saw that video on his status, and I kind of just got emotional. And I was like, here I am, I'm seated, and I'm even afraid to even place 0.01 lot on one trade.
That's interesting.
And yet I used to do this. It got a bit emotional. And all I did was that, bro, you just don't know what you've done with this video. And I went and looked in the mirror, and I said, you know what? This is where I belong. 1 month later, I funded my account and I went and hit the market. It wasn't sort of revenge trading, but that loss kind of just made me feel maybe I wasn't born to trade. I can't trade, like I was worthless. But seeing what I was doing kind of just made me to say, you know what? You have this great that beast in you that, you have to awaken.
Yeah,
And
it reignited that fire again, right? That spark again of trading.
Exactly.
You fell in love with trading again because it happens where we go through a streak of losses, and that's why also trading teaches you to be mentally strong as well. So people who have not reached that point yet, they would go into a streak of losses, try to fund the gain, still lose, and then they get to a point where they say, "I know, look, I can't do it anymore." They go and do something else, right? But in your case, you felt like that, and then you saw a video that reignited that spark again, and then you went back to the market again. Not revenge trading, but that love came back again.
So hold on. So you're saying Serge posted something about you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to understand. So he basically, as a brother, said, "I believe in Bliss."
Yeah.
And I am going to make everyone know, my networks, my community, I'm letting them know that this guy is someone to be followed. Bro, Brotherhood, I actually felt that one, bro.
Yeah.
That's actually powerful, bro.
That's powerful.
And where we are, and I'm saying this with respect.
Sure.
It's not always a thing here, right? Guys don't believe in brotherhood as much. They believe in friendship. Okay, we can be friends to an extent. But to put someone on your status and say, "This guy," brother, that thing is,
in the same industry.
In the same
doing
industry.
The same thing. I've seen, also, I'm not saying this, no disrespect, but I've seen some of our traders say in SA that in a competition, like in a competition,
constantly, bro. There's no credit being given.
When maybe they are in a live or somewhere and analyzing the charts, someone would come and say, "No, but it's gonna do this, imposing their analysis onto what the guy is doing. There's the competition I'm talking about there. But what you just spoke about, that brotherhood, my man, that's very powerful. For someone, I mean, before when did you know Serge in your journey? Did you know him when you're about to go into the losing streak, or you've always seen him, known him, but then you guys connected when you went through that, what you were going through?
So I knew Solomon Serge through a certain woman from South Africa. We used to call her Mrs. Money. So she had this VIP group and all that, and that's why I found Serge. And I got to know, because he was in good terms with me, with the lady called Mrs. Money. So I got to know him as, a Zambian trader that also trades. I was like, oh, really? We also have these. Yeah. And then I think we didn't communicate. We only started communicating when I was sort of making a few losses, but I just saw they were, and then I reached out to him, like, yeah, you know what? I think things are going wrong somewhere. And they just wanted us to have the word, just like that. And that's how I got to know him now. And then it transited into that point where I lost so much and then I stopped. But that is where, and it's quite interesting that the very first day I met Solomon, it felt like I'd already known him. Like, I knew him from way back. But in that sense, that was like the first day. And ever since then, Solomon, Serge, and that, whilst other traders here in Zambia or maybe other parts of the world focus on proving who's the best or who's doing the most and all that, we've focused on working together and getting things done.
Beautiful.
And I have to credit that, he's been one person who's inspired me to also continue on my trading journey. I usually talk to him and he gives me a lot of advice on many issues, spiritually and many other areas. So he's one person that contributed also to my growth as a trader as well as an individual.
So, sorry, bro, you can go for it.
So before we continue there, right, and before Ash comes in, so you've gone through those losses, obviously Serge is there now helping you. When you go back, do you now know why you lost those trades that you lost, right? Did you go back and check, this is something I shouldn't have done, all of that? Did you see that?
Yeah, very, very interesting question. Yes, I did. In the process, that period where I had taken a break from trading, there's always just this thing where if you're making so much money in trading, you're consistent and all that, sometimes that can mess you up, thinking now you are invincible. You can't, you're like, you can't, you can never fail in trading. That's the point where I had gotten to. And now, it ended up happening that even trades that I did, I stopped neglecting. I started neglecting that aspect for just following trades of the highest probability. And I just started trading because I had so much money and I could just trade any opportunity I want to enter, any opportunity I want to trade, just like that. And then I realized I thought maybe I was invincible. I thought I was the Terminator, the guy that never dies. And, that happened. So that brought about growth. And going back to the markets, I knew I had to keep myself in check. I realized, one, I'm not invincible. No matter how great of a trader that you are, sometimes when you do not handle yourself very well, you can find yourself in a huge mess. And unfortunately, that's what happened to me. But of course, it came with its own lessons, which I had to make adjustments to.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. Yeah.
So that brotherhood, just to go back quickly, what would you say are the ingredients to a relationship like that? Because there's a lot of guys, right? Let me just give you some more context, right? So there's a lot of guys that greet each other every day. They maybe have bought each other lunch maybe once or twice a month. Or for whatever reason, we create a relationship based on what someone has done for us. And I think most of the time that's where we get it wrong. It's not so much what the person does for you that creates the relationship. It's what do you have before you do something for that person, right? So what kind of things should one look for? Maybe just 3 things. We don't have to unpack it too much, but maybe just 3 things that you would say constitutes to being a brotherhood, where you can say, I can actually share more than just surface things with this individual. Because you can go into business, you can get someone to be part of your personal life, if you really have a brother that you really feel is there for you and not for what they can give you or what you give other people.
Okay, so I'm just going to personalize it to the relationship that I have with Solomon, but of course it applies to many other. So I think what makes us be more than just friends is that, one, it's not just Forex trading that has brought us together. Indeed, it's a thing that brought us together. But what has helped us to stay together and look at things the way we do is not just Forex. One, I remember I mentioned that Solomon Sage is somebody that I can have a conversation with, and then he advises me, on spiritual matters, and many other things. So it's not just Forex that brings us together. And also the aspect of, one, my friendship with him is not as a result of him maybe having done something for me and then in return no, it's not always about that. He has done and he has helped me a lot, and I believe I've also added value to his life. But it goes beyond that. Our friendship, our brotherhood is more important. Today we might, like for example, I can have one deal on the table, and just because I have that deal, and maybe I feel I'm not the right person suited for that deal, and I feel Solomon Sage has better experience than I do. Right now, with the friendship that I have with Solomon, I would say, you know what? I think it would be great if you have Solomon Sage on the team with me. Or I would say this deal best suits Solomon Sage. Before I handle any other deal, he's one of the first people that I would call, bro, I have this thing. What do you think? The sincerity in and the purity in the intentions that we have towards each other, I think has helped us grow. If he has a good deal, I would not feel bad about it. Like for me, I would not feel bad about it because I know his success is also my success. One thing that I've also seen is that if Solomon Sage is having like many deals, many companies want to work with him and all that, the same thing begins to happen to me. The same applies. When I have so many deals coming to my plate, the same thing happens with Solomon Sage. I cannot believe what many people say if your neighbor is succeeding, be glad for them because it shows that God is in the neighborhood. And,
you might be next.
It's true. That's what happened with me and Solomon.
Yeah.
Whenever something great is happening for him, I'm sincerely happy for him. I do not have issues with posting if he has let's say copy trading that he'll be doing, I'm also starting. But guess what? I went and said, guys, Solomon said you'll be doing copy trading, and you ensure you can get to on his team and all that. So it goes just beyond trading. We share so many values, and I think the wisdom that he has when he advises me has helped also, the friendship just to be solid. He's one person that would tell me, okay, bro, I think on this one, you were wrong. You were supposed to do this. I think back in the day, we had one misunderstanding. And do you know what he did? He called me. In as much as in that misunderstanding, maybe I was the wrong person, he still called me and he still took the blame. He said, bro, you know what? I think I didn't handle things better. I treasure our friendship beyond the money and all that. I would, yeah. And we made progress from there.
If I can just add something there.
Sure.
What I've come to realize about fantastic friendships, brotherhood, right, is sometimes you just like being around a person.
Okay.
Like you're just in the vicinity. Like there's nothing that you're necessarily doing for each other, but you just like being around that individual. You like their energy, you like their vibe. If something happens, you like how they respond. You can take their character and you can laugh about the silly joke. Just being around a person adds a lot to
Get you 100%. And also, so while we're still on that brotherhood, that phase you are in, how important is, in your opinion, accountability when you trade? Because the reason I'm asking this is, some people might take losses and don't want to be honest with that trade they took. So you said, Serge Solomon set you down, told you this is not the trade you were supposed to take, all of that, right? And then some people might bypass that phase where you need to sit down and look at your trades and then just be honest to yourself and say, that is not how I'm supposed to be trading, right?
Yes.
So how important is accountability?
Well, it is very much important, one, for your own personal growth. If I have to make mention of this, if I have to go to my friend Solomon Sage, he's one person I'm sincere with. I'll be like, you know what, bro? If I lost maybe crazy amounts of money and all that, maybe other people may not know that I've lost all these amounts of money, but you always know I'm like, bro, I messed up here. And, I'll tell him all this. And what trade did you take? I said, I took, he'll be like, oh, I saw this and all that. But, you didn't see this and this. Oh my God, I messed up and all that. And, after that, he'll give a word of encouragement. He'll be like, oh, you know what? Anyway, it has happened and all that, but, we keep going. And I have to mention that, I know for a fact today, if I were to go broke today, Solomon Sage would be one of those people that would still step up to say, you know what, bro, I'm still going to give you this money. Get yourself up to your feet. And I'll still do the same thing with him. If things at some point, failed for him and whatsoever, I still do have other friends and all that. But right now, because we're putting him on the center, I would still say, you know what, bro, I think I have, this. Even if, let's say, for example, even if I just have $1,000 to my name, I'll say, you know what, bro, let's share this 1,000 USD. Get something, I get something. Let's try to raise this together.
Nice.
You get. So, it is very much important as a trader, as well as just an individual. You just need, maybe that one person for the sake of accountability and all that, just to ensure that things are in check.
So tell us a little bit about your academy as well. We in the neighborhood of Forex, accountability, brotherhood, beginners, and so forth. Tell us a little bit about your academy.
Okay. So Billionaire Trading Academy, I call it Billionaire Trading Academy. This is the goal. I want many people to be able to make a lot of money. I know not everyone may become a billionaire, but I know for one that, definitely for me, I'm going to be one of those people. I'm not yet a billionaire in USD. I'm not yet that, but I definitely, I'm heading there. So what basically happens, with the academy is that one, I offer lessons. I'm more centered on lessons, of course. But, after the lessons, what I want to do is to have people make at least their first monies, alongside me. And then once they are able to work on their own, they can choose whatever path that they want. But I want to ensure that people know that, especially here in Zambia, people think Forex trading is a scam. Over and over again, I've often stood up to many people that have claimed Forex is a scam. I say, the thing that you do is not Forex, but the Forex that I know is definitely not a scam. And the Billionaires Trading Academy stands as a testimony to that. I've gone as far as putting my reputation on the line to say, okay, if you think Forex is a scam, okay, let me fund this amount, be able to raise this amount to this much, and then be able to withdraw, so that just you see, and you tell me what is, in this whole thing. Yeah. So basically, I train people. That's mentorship, and there are also signals that I offer. I'm mainly focused more on mentorship because I want people to be able to understand trading. I don't want them to start trading out of just, the excitement. I want them to start trading, understanding what really moves the market, what they need to do, and make informed decisions, so that they don't just, just start trading and they lose money and they end up calling you one a scammer, and also they go Forex trading as a scam. I don't want that. I want people to be able to trade in the long run and be able to be to attain financial freedom through trading. That's my goal, and that's what basically we do at the Billionaire Academy.
What are some of the challenges that you've picked up with your students? Like maybe 2 or so challenges that they are not really solving, or if it's just, something that people basically struggle with when it comes to trading. Well, what are some of the challenges you experience with your students?
Okay. It is a positive thing, but I think it also has a negative element to it. So people have seen, maybe once they see your success rate in terms of trading, some people begin to overly trust you, to a point whereby they are willing to go and sell. If the last thing that they have on them is the laptop, they'll go and sell the laptop and just fund the account and just say, Bliss, just tell me when to buy and when to sell.
That's dangerous.
You see, someone doesn't understand risk management, they do not understand, so they end up maybe just using big lot size, and then they lose the money. I've lost the money and do that. So it is coming from a point of positivity where they've seen, okay, yeah, this is good. But the challenge comes in where they do not want to understand why you're trading, why you're taking a certain trade. They just want the honey of the whole thing, not understanding that the whole process to understanding why we're taking a certain trade, why we're buying, why we're selling. Most people neglect that part. I think that has been a challenge, and that has led me to what I'm doing about that is, one, I've kind of paused on giving signals to people. Reason being, I want, even before I give signals to somebody, it's mandatory that someone has to go through my entire course. I have a course that I know sometimes advertise like maybe 3 times in a year. I only teach like 3 times in a year. This year, I haven't taught nobody at the time. Yeah. But I only do it 3 times in a year. So that is the course that someone has to go through before I can actually even send them the signals. Yeah. Once they go through that course, and then I begin to tell them, okay, guys, I'll be buying here. And why I'm buying is because of this and this. They have that understanding. So they understand how much to risk and all that.
100%. So just to conclude on this part before you go to the future, speak about the future. In your journey of trading, right, have you changed your styles, your strategies? And if you've done that, how many times do you think you've changed the strategies you are using and the styles you are using? Because that's also like a bit of a problem in someone who doesn't understand that you need to trade like a certain way that makes sense to you, and it needs to be personal to you, just like we say strategy is something that we personalize, so have you gone through the process where you constantly hopping through strategies and style, and then eventually you found yourself?
Positive. I think just starting with trading, I remember I used to be a high risk trader.
That's how we start. That's how everyone starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember after that huge loss and all that, I now became a bit more conservative because I knew now at that particular point, capital preservation was going to be the goal if I'm going to be here in the long run. And I also made adjustments to how I trade. It's not very different from how I started, but I've made upgrades. I've kind of let go of certain things and I've just remained with a few things. And of course, this time around, even in lifestyle, back in the day, you'd meet Bliss. Bliss was this guy that was, the man of the show, right? Yeah, I was the man of the show. I always used to, I liked noise wherever I went. For example, I would be like in class, we would have a party. I'd be like, you know what, guys? When they're thinking of contributing money and all that, I'll just talk to the organizers. I'm like, how much is needed? I remember before I left a particular institution, that's what I did. I said, how much is needed? And I said, just tell everyone to come. We're going to have a party. Let's have fun. That's what. Yeah. But this time around, I kind of feel there's no need for me to be validated as someone that is like profitable or something. Yeah. If people have noticed on my socials, I'm barely even active sometimes because now it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And also just being secretive about certain things. It's not everything that you need to expose unless maybe if you're trying to prove a point. I only come out if somebody, dares me, like, okay, especially when they say Forex is a scam. I come out and I'm like, okay, come and show you how it is. Yeah. So there have been some adjustments in those areas. I'm not the guy that is always making noise and all that. I've kind of, at least reached a point where I'm like, it doesn't matter whether, somebody hears about me or so. No, it doesn't really matter. What matters is what actually is coming in. I'm making money and all that. That's what matters. And I'm also making advancements in terms of, investments aside Forex trading. I think those are some of the things that have occurred as changes.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, look, I think maybe from a future perspective, so where we now going, right? Your generation, are you a millennial or are you Generation Z? Or because I know me and you, we're not baby boomers at all. We are not Gen X. Are you millennial?
How would you define a millennial?
Well, only from the date perspective. Millennial is 1981 to 1996. That's the date that they consider the millennial generation. Then the Generation Z is 1997 to 2012. So
okay, well, I think I fall in the category of Gen Z. If that's the case, that's it.
All right, so Gen Z, first generation to grow up with smartphones and social media from a young age. Key points or key events was the global financial instability, climate change, activism, COVID-19 pandemic. And then some of the characteristics there of the Gen Z is digital natives, highly connected, value diversity and inclusivity, and tend to be pragmatic and financially cautious. So with your Generation Z now, all right, I have a son, he's in Generation Alpha. That's 2013 to present. And my daughter is 12. So she also falls within Gen Z. Now, the reason why I'm speaking about generations or asking about it, looking at the future, how do you want to impact Generation Alpha, Generation Z? And that's obviously your generation and then the one that's coming after you. So what's your kind of message to the guys within your generation and the one after?
Okay. So basically, the kind of word that I would mention, of course, I would first of all start with the kind of impact I want to have. It's a journey that I'm already on. One, I would want people to understand that we are all born with a certain level of potential. It's just a matter of going in and bring it forth. Right now, we're in an era where there's so many opportunities. We're not like our ancestors where this time around, who knew back in the day that you literally just sit on the phone You do not go anywhere and make money just from your phone or your laptop. So ask me, back in the day, I never thought that was possible. But we're in an era where all those things are possible and many great things are coming. I think it's best to be open-minded and ensure you explore certain, opportunities. You might never know. And also just to ensure one, if you make a decision, I'm going to do this, I think do it as though your life depends on it. Yeah. I mean, I have to mention, on a side note, that this time around, of course, growing up, I used to think there was a particular age that, one needed to be in order to have a girlfriend and all that. I think, now that I'm here, now that I've grown, I've realized and I've learned these things just get better as you grow. Back in the day, the things that I thought were making sense, right now I look back like, oh, why was I wasting time?
There's no.
Yeah. Especially, remember how I got disturbed with the issue of, the breakup and all that. It really affected me. And who knew at that particular point, if I'd not found Forex, who knew maybe what I could have done, So certain things, if you are in this era, I think do not awaken certain things before anything. I think the main thing is just to focus on yourself. If it's the ladies that you want, you always have them. Believe me, I think they get better with time as you grow, especially if you start making some money,
That's important. That's the most important one there.
The what?
Empowering yourself to a point where you are able to make money. Working on yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better that you focus on making yourself better and becoming a better person.
And children, do you have any children?
No, I do not. I don't have any child.
Okay.
Are you planning on having maybe 4, 3, 2?
Well, I can still have 5.
Oh, you want 5?
Yeah.
All right,
when the time is right, I want to have, a maximum of 5. So maybe unless if my wife wants more, but for me, 5 is good.
So at what age you want to get married?
Maybe when I'm like 28, 29.
Okay. All right. That's still great, because the thing is, if you get to 40 and you get married, and I mean, this is not the same for everyone. I've seen some people, I was actually, I think I was chatting to you, T. I said there's a woman of 72 and she still looks extremely young.
Yeah.
And so it might be subjective, but generally, if you age 45 and you having your first child and you 45, you're not going to necessarily have the perks of running around and being present all the time, So hence me asking, when do you want to get married? When do you want to have your first child? Which I think is also important when you're building something with someone, is that's all part of the plan as you are working together. It's not you by yourself and then you dictate and say, I want to do this at this time and you must just fall in line. I think we must have gender equality in that sense, where we ask for what is the spouse, what does the partner also want within the partnership, yeah?
Yes, you're very much right on that one.
Yeah, I like the fact that you pointed there, that building together, you're not just one looking for this, but if you find someone that, she's willing to build with you, man, that's a blessing.
And that's something money can't buy, by the way. I know we earn money. We're speaking about money. Money can't buy that. If like you can put all the money out there, go to the fanciest hotels, blah, blah, then the list goes on. But when someone says, listen, I want to build, and I see the vision you have in the finance industry, you want to achieve this, I want to be part of that. That thing you can't buy. You can't, it's priceless.
If I have to mention one of the things that contributes to me maybe not finding someone that I think it's become a bit hard now, especially right now, to just find a lady that will understand your vision and say, you know what, I think we can build off this. You get it's crazy. It's great. That's one of the things. That's one of the challenges that I have, because now you find, people always find, you've already established something. You're meeting her. You are in a Mercedes, and maybe they come into the live and they kind of just sit and they feel like there's nothing that they can offer. But in the actual sense, there's more you get. That's one of the challenges that I have. And I haven't really just, found someone that, in that area.
Bliss,
yeah.
And T, you guys, you know what? Now, I think we have less challenges looking at a chart and looking at the support, and we have less challenges there. That's easy to do.
Yeah.
That's like, it's so natural. It's like, hey man, we get it. It's exactly what you're saying. That's the thing. Those are the things, the psychology behind it. Because if you find someone that's for you, you're trading, once you've come out of an intense session, let's say you're just trading, you've come out of 3 hours of intensity, you've taught people, and now you just want that safe haven to say, I want to come and sit and woosa. I don't want to talk about money. I don't want to talk about teaching. I just want to sit and ask him and this individual, whether it's man or woman, because I think women in trading could have even some more complexities. They're making a lot of money and their partner's not. So what does that do for the man? We're going to have a female trader on pretty soon, and we will chat about that.
Definitely.
If she's making money and he's not, what is the psychological disparity over there? That's a very interesting one as well. So Bliss, I hear you on that one, brother. If you have the right partner that is working with you, working together, it becomes easier to maintain.
Easy. Both of you guys are comfortable,
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. T, anything else from your side? I think for me, I received a substantial amount of knowledge from Bliss, and obviously, what it's like in Zambia, that it's not as alive as what you would want it to be, right, Bliss? Because there was a time when there was nothing. Then you guys learned from the South Africans, and it's not at the peak, you would say, where from a future perspective, it's not where it should be. Am I correct?
Definitely, you're very much right. There's progress that is being made. I like the very fact that now we have more people knowing about trading, and people can openly talk about it online and all that. But it's not at a position where it's supposed to be, like the way it is in South Africa or in other countries. People still do not understand, the potential that it has, and people do not really have the full understanding. Because I think what messed us up was the very fact that before the real trading, a lot of people knew about the real trading. There was the scamming part of trading. There was the invest this much, you get this much. So most people equate that to Forex trading. We are definitely not at a point where I would think we're at our best. But of course, I'm putting in efforts, as well as many other traders are doing. And of course, that's something that I'm happy about, that other traders are coming up and ensuring that, we get to a point where now people understand really the potentials that lie in trading. But so far, we're not where we're, at the point where I would think we are at our very best. And that is something that we're working towards, in collaborations and doing all these seminars and all that. One thing that I have to mention, we had a seminar, of course, TD Markets came to Zambia.
Yes.
That was the very first time that ever happened here in Zambia.
Really?
And I think ever since then, the response from people has just been overwhelming.
That's powerful, bro.
I think that is one of the things, we need more of that. And from there, where people, especially the recent one that we had, Mr. Ashley was, where we did like live trading.
Yes.
I wish we could do more of that. Matter of fact, I have to mention this coming NFT in July. I'll be doing that, except it will be online. Live NFT trading. We get the direction right, we make the money. I think that helps people to know and see, to say, okay, what? I've made this money. And I ask them to say, now that you've made this money, withdraw it and see it reach your bank account.
Yes.
Yeah. That really helps.
So it's more demonstration that is needed there in Zambia because of what has happened before. The guys want to see it now and say, does it pay? Is it worth it, me investing all of my knowledge into it? Because the previous guys that came, they made a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Exactly. And I look forward to having many more sessions, like that. I don't mind if, I know these things come with a risk. It's a reputation, your reputation that you're putting on the line.
Absolutely.
But I think where I have reached is not about always being right. I know certain things can go wrong. Maybe you take the wrong signal, you lose money. But where I've reached, I understand. It's not every time. I'm not going to be making profits 100% of the times. No, there'll be those days where, I would have to make a loss. But even in those days where we make a loss, I would have to ensure I let people know to say, guys, sometimes this is what happens. But in cases where such things happen, ensure that you regulate how much risk you're going to take and how much you're going to lose. That's a great part with Forex trading, because you are able to regulate how much you are going to risk. And therefore you are in charge of if at all any loss occurs, you can actually determine how much you're going to lose.
All right, 100%. Yeah. I think you have any more questions left?
No, I think I'm okay, man. I had a fantastic time. Yeah.
Also had a fantastic time, my man. Thank you so much for the session. Of course, you're a trader. We can see that you're doing well. Continue on the journey. I always tell people that, this is the future. We have more people trading, but more and more people starting to trade. This is the future, because you are in control of your money. You're right. Of course, you're not in control of the markets. Nobody's in control of the markets, but you can see your money right there working for you. So, my man, continue what you're doing and continue empowering people in Zambia. I can't wait to go to Zambia.
Yeah.
Right. I know it's in the works, it's in the pipeline, but can't wait to go to Zambia.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Plus, anything from your side, brother?
All I can say is that thank you for having me on this amazing podcast. I think it has been insightful to me as well as an individual. I've learned a lot also, from you guys. And I think one last word that I would have to say is that if there is anybody that is involved in trading and perhaps things are not going well right now, it doesn't always go well every time, but it's how you pick yourself up. If let's say you've lost today, you've lost whatever amount of money you've lost. I've lost more money before. I've lost a lot of money before. And maybe that is your last money. You can't always just define yourself on that one loss. Identify what made you lose that, amount of money and pick yourself up. And always know there's always a reward at the end of the day, as long as you remain consistent and you never give up. We've lost money. Many traders have lost money. But we didn't give up. And here we are. But it doesn't mean we will never experience losses. We'll experience the losses. But the idea that Forex comes with, that you can determine how much you're going to risk in the long run, is what protects us and helps us in the long run. So I would encourage people to still continue to trade, and just ensure they do not, stop learning, because it's always great at the end of the day.
Fantastic. Guys, to all our viewers out there, man, there's nothing else that I think Bliss just mentioned everything that needed to be said, summarized it, gave a beautiful summation there for us. Just run it back. If you missed anything, you can always go and re-listen and check it out. But it's an absolute pleasure. And to all the guys, don't forget to tune into all our other episodes. They are on our YouTube channel. You can check them out there. We're definitely looking forward to seeing you guys again.
Definitely. All right, guys, keep well. And then just follow us on all social media platforms for anything that we do. 100%.
Absolutely. All right, Bliss. All the best, brother.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Cheers, my man.
Ciao.